Canon just put out their new nifty 50 RF lens version. It's the Canon 50mm f1.8. And so I thought I would pick one up and do a quick little rundown of the pros and cons, taking it out on a shoot and seeing what I thought. And of course, letting you know the results. I wanted to make this a short and sweet video. It's not gonna be scientific or doing a deep dive into this lens. I just took this lens out on a shoot for a brand and wanted to see what it could do in a real world application and then be able to share that with you guys. And so all of the footage that you just saw was from the RF50 1.8, except obviously for the drone shot. But everything else was shot with this lens on my Canon R5. And so overall, I really enjoyed shooting with this lens, but there were definitely a few things that I found a bit frustrating. And so with that, let's jump into some of the cons. Starting off with the first con was with the autofocus, and this came in kind of two aspects. One, I thought the autofocus was just a little bit slow. Sometimes it would hunt for what I wanted to be in focus or just wasn't focusing fast enough or as fast as my other RF glass or even other EF glass that I own. It didn't cost me losing a shot or anything like that, but still, it's a little frustrating when things don't go as they do with other lenses. The second part of that autofocus was that the autofocus is actually just a little bit noisy. So when the lens is focusing, there are pieces in the lens that are moving in and out and you can really hear it. Yeah, it's not crazy loud, but it is loud enough to hear it and to be picked up a little bit on a microphone. The third con would be the build quality. I mean, it's a $200 lens, and so you're getting what you pay for. It's super light and pretty plasticky, so it's not going to be that build quality that you get with something like an L series lens. Lastly, there's no image stabilization on this lens, and now I'm kind of being pretty nitpicky here, as I don't know of any 50mm lens that actually has image stabilization in the lens. It would be awesome to have a 50mm with IS. But getting into the pros, what I did love about this lens is the image quality. It was super fast at 1.8, so I was able to get a really nice shallow depth of field, nice bokeh, and be able to shoot in a little bit darker situations in the forest. And so like I had mentioned in the cons, the price. It's a $200 lens, and for that image quality, it is a great price point to grab this lens at. And lastly, like I had mentioned, this thing is tiny, it is small, it is light. Look at that tiny little lens cap. It's small and light, and so you can pack this away in any kind of camera bag. I can honestly just put this in my pocket. It's nice and light for travel. So with the build quality not being the greatest, it is kind of a pro as well if you're just looking for something tiny and small to toss into a bag and use when you need to. Which brings me to the question of who this lens is actually for. I think this lens is absolutely perfect for anybody that's just starting out in photography or videography, or is on a tight budget and wants to get a lens that has decent quality but isn't going to break the bank. I think this RF Nifty 50 is the perfect lens to start out with. I also think that this is a lens for somebody that's only occasionally shooting portraits or somebody that only occasionally uses that medium focal length. Like me, for example, I'm primarily using either my 15 to 35 or my 70 to 200. And so this lens comes in handy when I want something that is kind of that medium focal length, and then I don't need to pay $2,000 for the L series lens. So let me know in the comments below if this is a lens that you'd be interested in, if this is a lens that you have or are going to be purchasing, or you're not, you don't want this lens at all. Let me know in the comments below why that is. I would love to hear from you, so let me know. And as always, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help and make a difference. And we'll see you on the next video.